least those celebrities put their money up. Countless others are simply posturing on social media. Jason Rantz is a Seattle area radio show host. He's wrote a piece on that and joins us tonight to explain it. Jason, what's happening exactly?
What's happening is I notice what probably a lot of people are noticing. They're on Twitter, they're on Instagram, and all of a sudden they're seeing people who are proudly proclaiming how woke they are, how all of a sudden they're interested in a topic that just a few weeks ago they didn't care about. And so they will lecture us about their newfound wokeness. Though none of us will ask, they will certainly tell us that they are heroes for the positions that they are taking. Meanwhile, when you try to have a normal conversation with any of them about maybe it being a fringe position to defund police, they will try to bully you into silence. These are people who are posting on social media to tell you that they care, while not even understanding any of what it is they're talking about. This is self-preening, urbanite, woke progressives who are going out of their way to pat each other on the back while not actually forwarding any part of this conversation. They'll tell us that they're fighting bigotry and racism, though in early February, when Jews were getting beat up on the streets of New York and New Jersey, they weren't posting anything. They wait for these national movements to jump on top of, so that, again, they can feel like they are part of a bigger conversation. Meanwhile, what they end up doing is give a pass to some of these fringe beliefs that you've been talking about on this show all this week. When you have people who jump on a national movement, you give it legitimacy. And I don't think that we should be giving some of the fringe parts of this any sort of legitimacy.
But you can't, they seem to think they're immune from criticism. So LeBron James, for example, has been inciting violence, in my opinion. And yet, if you say anything about it, you're the racist. How can someone like LeBron James, who should be ashamed of what he's done, get away with it?
They get away with it because of a lot of groupthink, right? I mean, when you create these social media accounts and you're engaged in this kind of activism, you essentially surround yourself with a lot of like-minded people. Now, I follow a bunch of different voices. If I were to get involved, like any normal person would want to get involved in some of the conversations, ultimately you get social media currency by attacking the other people because, again, you're proclaiming that you're more evolved than everybody else. And then it becomes this big circle of people silencing folks that dare to say something just a little bit different, and then they feel like they can't say anything. And then the fact that people aren't saying anything means there's no one pushing back. And you mentioned it earlier on the show. If you don't push back, if you just sort of let it happen, well, yeah, then it happens. And exactly. I don't want to live in a city that doesn't have actual police officers. This is ridiculous. And the problem is, we're supposed to be united right now. And I think after George Floyd was murdered, and I believe he was murdered, this was an injustice that everybody, every single person came together to call out. And rather than take that unity and have conversations about something important, such as, how about police training? Is there something we can do there? We allow the fringe voices to speak up the loudest, even though they represent the smallest amount of people. And then before you know it, it becomes this national movement with celebrities who think they know what it is they're talking about. You go and loot or destroy any of their property. The second that happens, the second you look at them in a shifty way, they'll have their private security descend upon you, and then they call the cops.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen to LeBron James. Meanwhile, he is, and I want to say it again, I believe he's been inciting violence. It's unbelievable. Jason Rantz, great to see you tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you remember